Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Saturday. I thought it was Sunday for a long time today, but it's Saturday, March 6th. Yeah, that's right. 6th. Look, I had to check it. March 6th. I'm all off on the days and the date. March 6th, Saturday, 2021. We'll get that out eventually. Ugh, sorry about that. I am definitely drinking a little bit of extra coffee today. I knew once I did it like the other day with Dr. Josh on the live stream to have a recovery drink of coffee that it would kind of become a habit again. Bad habits are easy to resume, and yeah, I'm back. But I'm gonna do it today. But hopefully, I'll be able to kind of get things straightened up by tomorrow. But my excuse is, we went yesterday to that park I mentioned to you guys yesterday. New park that the kids hadn't been to before. It's one that I run by all the time. It's much bigger than the parks that are like within immediate walking distance from us. But we drove over there. There's a parking lot nearby, and the kids absolutely loved it. There's a lot more stuff that's suitable for like a little bit older kids. So like for my older daughter, and we played there a ton. And then we picked up some like curbside takeout food on the way home for dinner, which so it was like a nice treat all the way around. Nice way to start off the weekend. The kids loved it so much that they wanted to go back today. So after my run, I got back and they were like, well, I suggested, I was like, let's go for a walk. And they were like, let's go to that park again. I was like, okay. So we went and the kids played even more. So like they're tired. I'm tired. My wife got in some outside time today as well. She went for a walk. So like we're all tired in the house and everyone's like a little bit sore. So it's very fun. How are you guys doing today? Everyone that's on the live on the podcast version, listening audio only. Hope you guys are having a good run out there today or having a good drive. And everyone that is watching on YouTube after the fact, welcome to you guys as well. All right, let's see. Ben Y said he had a nice cup of matcha instead of coffee in the morning. I don't know what matcha is. Yeah, it's a tea, right? So like, I'm not sure. I never had that before. All right. I saw something. Greg's here. Says, hope you're having a great weekend, Co. Stay safe. Greg recently designed the medals for the Lakefront 10 miler, which is actually going to go live along the lakefront in Chicago. I think that they only opened it up to a very small number of people, but I did see the other day that they were going to run that one live April something, like second half of April, which I didn't try to sign up for that one. It's a little bit too soon for me, but if other people can run that, great. But I saw the medals look nice, really nice, very green, very verdant, reminds me of spring. So that was cool to see. I actually saw another race happening all along the run today. F3 events in Chicago did their half marathon. Normally they do their half marathon on kind of like the south part of the lakefront trail, and it's in the end of January, so like a winter half marathon. It's one of my favorite races, but they didn't have it then because in January they couldn't do it. But there was today, I guess, and so I saw like a chip timing like thingy, like a small version of one along the lakefront today. And then I saw like someone had like basically taken like a piece, you know how like they have those things that you can stick in the ground, kind of like those like campaign signs, the little ones. They have those, and someone had like a written like mile markers on it and stuff. So like I was like, oh, someone's racing today. But that went today too. So I did see a lot of people out. Probably a little bit more people clustered in groups than I feel comfortable with, but you know, things are getting back to normal, it seems. All right. I saw something from Sarah. Says, let's see where to go. Where is it up here? Further up? Oh man, I'm looking further back. Where'd it go? Here's the one that I saw earlier, but maybe I'm missing some context on it. Sarah says that she broke her Garmin watch. She was in a bad bike accident, just got back in from the ER, and the watch is completely smashed. I hope you're okay, Sarah. I'm sorry to hear about the watch, but if that's the worst of it, you know, for a bike, every time I hear the words bike accident, I always kind of get very scared. Yeah, and because I hear about bike accidents relatively frequently in Chicago, because a lot of people do bike in the city. So hopefully you're doing okay, Sarah. All right. Let's see. We had, what else? I saw something scroll up a little bit. Ooh, Martha says, happy Saturday. The second Pfizer shot yesterday knocked us off our feet today. Ooh, just took a Tylenol since I'm running a bit of a fever. Brother said it won't affect your immune response. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think so, Martha. I hope you're feeling better. I'm very glad you got your second dose. Awesome. Because I think you got a trip planned, right? Like next month. So hopefully, I mean, I assume by then you'll be like way in the clear and feeling great. But I feel like that's all like part of the immune response. I don't think it'll affect your immune response. I think that is your immune response. So that's part of like, I feel like when I get the shot, if I don't feel crappy, I'm going to be like, uh-oh, did it not take? Did I get an expired dose? That's what my concern is going to be. So like, if I get it, you know, and I don't get like some sort of like, just like feeling a fatigue or like a fever, I'm going to be concerned. I'm hoping for a fever. Dr. Josh is here, says that cohair flowing. Yeah. I didn't put it in a bun or try to put it up today because I knew we were going to go out to the park and I was going to wear a warmer winter hat. And so this is just my hat here for today. But yeah, I tried to do a headband for the video for today. One of the bigger bands. I wore it during one of the live streams. I was like, this might work. I think I can run like this. This might be kind of cool. Let's try it out. And it ended up like, it lasted for like a good 5 minutes maybe. And then like, I don't even know where like the little tie thing that I had for my little man bun went. That fell off somewhere and like, it was just all over the place. And by the end, like I had my mask down for part of the run because it was a workout. And so when there weren't people, I was trying to breathe a little bit better. And so I just had like strips of fabric like over my face and it was a mess. I was like, this is not working for me, and we'll get it figured out. We'll get it nailed down. All right. All right. JC coming in with some good news says, happy Saturday, everyone. Beautiful race morning. Knocked off 120, a new 15K PR. Well done. That's quite a bit of an improvement. Excellent work. Nice job, JC. I haven't seen Shannon. Do we have any update from Shannon? How did her ultra attempt go yesterday? I saw also, is Remy here? Because I saw Remy was putting in a monster workout as well. So, see how he's feeling today. Scott said, did anyone see the crazy montage of newcasters being surprised it was March already? Quite ridiculous. I haven't seen that, but I'll have to go look for that. Yeah. Fantafels Dopke. I don't know how to say that. Says, hi from Belgium. Ran my first marathon today solo. Awesome. Great work. So it's technically a PB? Of course it is. You know what's great about that? If you did today solo, like a time trial, like a virtual event, when you get to, I would say when you get to do your first like in-person event too, I would take that as a PR as well. So he says, technically a PB, set a 330 goal and managed to fit under just under at 325. Just under. You smashed 330. That's not just under. You're saying you're just under 325. So you hit like 324 something. So that's fantastic. Great work. Amazing. So good job. A lot of people getting some good work this weekend. Nice. I saw a question. It just moved. I saw a question from CJ. We'll have a 1080-11 versus more version 3. Looking for a new recovery max shoe in a few months. Yeah, I wasn't going to do it, but I keep thinking that I'm going to have to because I didn't, I was going to try the Fresh Foam More version 1. And then like right when I was about to order it, that's when Seth got his and he was like, this is a terrible shoe, guys. I don't know what they're doing. So I was like, all right, I guess I want to order that shoe. That's easy enough. And then like the Fresh Foam More version 2 came out and it was like crickets. I don't think anyone reviewed that one. So I was like, I wasn't that interested in it, number one, because I was like, what do I need the More 2 for? I got the 1080. It didn't make any sense to me why the two shoes existed. And so I was like, I'm not that interested in that. And then the More version 3 came out and I was like, no, I got the More Trail. I love that one. That's pretty nice. I got the 1080 version 11. What do I need the version, like the More version 3? But every time I do a video about the 1080 version 11, I'm like, this is a great shoe, but I just want a little bit more. And I'm like, I hear it, guys. I totally hear it. Like I'm walking right into like, and henceforth, and therefore I need to review the Fresh Foam More version 3. So I think I probably will. I'm not like super excited about it, but yeah, I think it's something that I'm gonna have to do. I think maybe I'll wait to see like when another like max cushion shoe comes out and I get two at this, because then I could, kind of run both of them at the same time. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. Bishop Duma says, have to admit the fact that you do this is amazing. Feel like a live daily AMA on Reddit. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. I mean, it's better when I'm interacting with you guys. I'm certainly capable of rambling for 40 minutes straight on my own, but it's always better when people have questions or when I get to hear about what you guys are doing, because I know what I'm doing. I talk about what I'm doing all the time on all sorts of other social media. So getting on here and getting to hear from you guys has been really great. My mom's here. So hi, Mom. How are you? My parents did get their second doses of the vaccine recently. So excited about that. I do have to call my mom, though. She called me a little while ago, a couple days ago, and I haven't returned her call. But sorry, Mom. Also says, metatarsal issues on the left foot. Do you recommend Nike Alpha Fly since the stack height is high, 35 millimeters in the front, or the endorphin speed, leaving foot sore at the 75 millimeter stack? Thanks. I mean, it depends on what your metatarsal issues are on your left foot. Yeah, I mean, if you need like just the most cushion that you can get from a marathon racing shoe, there's kind of like two areas that I would look at. One would be like the softest shoe that is still fast, which is the Alpha Fly for sure. The other way that I might look is not necessarily softness, but smoothness. And so then I might look at the Carbon X2, because that's going to give you, I mean, it's more of a roller than it is like a shoe that rolls rather than pops, if I'm going to use some kind of like weird metaphors. But that one, I feel like the way that it kind of wants you to run in it, in the event that you might be a slapper, like when I try to run fast, I feel like my feet look like hungry hippos, where they're like just like pawing at the ground a lot. And I feel like that's why a lot of times I keep wanting more cushion in the forefoot. If you're like me in that regard, then, something that makes you roll a little bit more fluidly, like the Carbon X2 might be another one to look at. So I would probably look at those two, because those are going to be like they're going to be easier on your legs. So I think those would be some good options. Bishop says, first time here, quick question. Welcome, Bishop. Ride 13 or Gel Nimbus 23? Purchased a Ride today. Compared to with other running shoes, you were right. The toe racings were narrow both in width and length. Did I run in the Gel Nimbus? I don't know. Like the Legacy kind of like Asics, like they all kind of like blend together to me. I can't remember which ones I run in and which numbers I've run in. But I would probably pick the Ride 13 over a gel shoe. I'm just not a huge fan of gel. But I know that because also, again, the way that my foot strikes, it's a little bit different than kind of what's optimized or what those ASICS shoes are optimizing for. Those shoes are optimizing more for a little bit of a heel strike, if not a midfoot strike. So like doesn't agree with me as quite as much. Yeah. So but if you're having an issue with the width in it, depending on like how long you've had that Ride 13, maybe you can exchange it, because I believe the Ride 13 comes in a wide version as well. So that would be one to look at. Another one to look at if you're kind of like looking for a little bit more width in the forefoot would be like the Clifton. I think is a little bit more forgiving in the forefoot than the Ride 13 is. All right. MJM says, second run in the Puma DV8 Nitro. Foam is fantastic. Only issue is heel slippage. Oh, interesting. I've been seeing a lot of people running in those shoes. I can't keep them straight. Which one is which? Is the DV8 Nitro? Is that the carbon plated one? No, I'm not sure. All right, I got to catch up. You guys are way ahead of me on the chat. So sorry, I'm going to skip ahead. If you guys have put in a question in the last couple of minutes, I'm sorry, but can you put it in again? Because I'm going to miss it. But I just want to make sure I'm like with where you guys are. David Litstone's here. He says, back running. Just an easy 10 minutes today. Very slow going to get mileage back. Surprised legs weren't tired after yesterday's 50K hilly ride. Yeah, I've been seeing you've been putting in a lot of, kilometers on the bike, David. So good to see you back. Welcome. Let's see. Carlos says, just cross 100 miles on the Rocket X. They still look and feel great. I almost ran in the Rocket X today. I was thinking about, I ended up going with the Adios Pro again because I just love running in those. But I was like, maybe this would be a good day for the Rocket X. But it's hard for me to choose. I mean, I don't know. There's something that like, I like the Rocket X. I don't love the Rocket X. I don't know what it is about it. All right. Electra Horvat says, do you meditate, Kofuzi? I don't really meditate per se. There are some times where I will try to do something like meditating when I'm running. But I don't really meditate. And Electra Horvat has a follow-up. And what is my diet? I'm mostly plant-based. I would say, to put it very specifically, I'm a pescatarian, but a flexible pescatarian, mostly for social reasons. Like if I'm at a dinner party and someone has made meat, I will eat the meat. But I'm mostly vegetarian. Like at home, I don't really eat a lot of meat. Christopher Rochelle says, do you ever feel like you're getting less fit in the middle of marathon training block? I could be overtraining, but the plan seems pretty moderate. Yeah, I mean, I would say definitely I feel like that sometimes. I felt like that during kind of like at like week 2. So I'm doing a very abbreviated 8-week 8K training program. And I felt like at week 2, I was like, I don't know. None of these times are very impressive. Not that I was trying to impress even myself or anything, but I'm just like, I feel like I'm putting in a lot of work. The numbers aren't great. The power number is not good. The heart rate number is not good, whatever. And I was feeling a bit discouraged, and I was like trying to like be like, all right, weather's not great. Temperatures are brutally cold. It's like mostly snow covered a lot of times. I'm still able to run out there, but like, not great. So let's just take it easy and kind of stay the course. And then about a week after that, then like things started picking up. And so I think there were a couple of things going on with that, or that could be going on with that. Overtraining could be it, but if you're in the middle of the training block, it's probably not overtraining. And so I was thinking what's probably happening is that kind of feeling of like flatness that was happening to me was probably my body like being tired from the work that I've been putting into it. And it kind of like not being able to respond yet because it's still just trying to like catch up from the new stimulus. And so then by like week 3 and definitely like into week 4, then it was like, all right, I can handle this. I'm doing good. And then I felt like, things started to feel a lot better. So that could be one thing that's going on with you, Christopher. The other thing is if you're working with a coach, I would definitely bring that up with your coach. That's the exact kind of thing that I think people need to be talking to their coaches about. So that way, if there are tweaks that do need to be made, it can happen. I mean, I think people use the word overtraining a lot, and it's been a very common topic lately. And I think that like my understanding of overtraining is like it's like a pathological thing. It's like almost like a diagnosable thing, where your body is so deep into just continual stress that like there are hormonal changes that are happening and an inability for your body to like kind of like absorb workout anymore because it's just like, it's trying to hold like all the water back in the dam. And after a while, it's just like, whatever, but I think that for kind of what it sounds like you're explaining, Christopher, it could be like, is this workout plan more than my body can currently handle? And I think that's a little bit different from overtraining, but like that's a similar idea. So maybe I'm splitting hairs. But like, that's something that I think about a lot is like, like I might be able to physically make it through a training plan, but am I getting anything out of it? Or is my body just like still just too much, like still at that kind of like trying to hold everything up and not able to do anything with it because just keeping up with the plan is making me so tired. If I were to continue to do that, that would lead to overtraining. But like in the beginning, it just feels like I'm not getting anything out of it. I'm able to do the work, but I'm not getting anything. Maybe we're just talking about a difference in time or duration, but that's kind of like what it sounds more like to me, it might be Chris, or it might just be like, give it another couple weeks, give it a chance for those workouts to like your body to do something with those stresses and adapt to it. And then you'll see something in a little bit. All right. Rudy Duploy says, thanks for great videos. Bought the 1080 version 11s after your video review. Pretty great. Thanks for the great channel. Oh, well, thanks. Thanks, Rudy. I'm glad you're enjoying those shoes. And thanks for coming into the live stream today. Servando Briggs says, hello from California. Hello, Servando. Hope you're doing well. All right. Pete G, good to see you again, says, hi, Kofuzi, how are you? Been running in the endorphin shift lately. I've been finding they were giving me blisters and they are very snug. Love them, but they are tight. Does anyone else find this? It's been a very long time since I ran in the endorphin shift. I was looking at them the other day. They're in the closet, and I was like, I gotta find a day to put these on, because I feel like if I don't put some miles in them soon, like version 2 is going to be out, and I'm gonna be like, all right, whoops, I'm gonna have to just skip ahead to version 2 then. So I don't want to do that necessarily. All right, let's see. Ben Y says, anyone managed to get away with not showering after an easy run? Our shower has been partly retiled and I can't use it until Monday, unfortunately. I've been there before. I mean, basically that's what I would do when I was run commuting. And I would not do this on days if I had like meetings and stuff, but if it was a day where I was at the office but didn't really need to suit up necessarily, then my run commute to work would just be, make sure it's very easy. So that way when I get there, I'm not like gross and disgusting. So then you can get away with not showering after the easy run. Now, granted, this was typically in kind of like either fall or spring when temperatures aren't that hot. So that's when it worked out a little bit, but you can certainly do it. They sell like not baby wipes, but like wipes for not adult wipes either. Sounds weird. But like kind of like baby wipes that, or you can just use baby wipes. That's one thing you can do to kind of give yourself like a sponge bath if you need to. But they also sell ones that are for adults that are used, for people that are camping or for people that are run commuting or exercising that might not have time to take a shower kind of thing. So they make products like that. When you do a Ragnar relay, they recommend, hey, you should buy some of these. And I feel like in this, I remember in the last, not the last one, the first one I did, which was a Road Ragnar, that was like in the swag bag, is like those wipes, because you're running multiple times in a van full of people, and you want to be courteous to your teammates. All right, Carrie Smith coming in with a super chat. What's going on, Carrie? Mock reviews soon. Love your channel. I don't know. I keep saying that I'm going to follow up, and I never do. But I need to follow up with the PR company that sometimes sends me Hoka shoes. They said they were going to send me a pair a while ago, around the time that I got the Carbon X2. But I'm guessing they were very busy with the Carbon X2 launch and like the Project Carbon X, the project, what was it? It was called Project Carbon X2, that 100K attempt. So maybe it just got kind of like lost in the shuffle and all that. So I'm pretty much waiting for them to send it to me. Otherwise, I don't know. I know a lot of people are super excited about it, but I'm not for some reason. I mean, it's because like right now in my closet, I'm looking at the Rincon 2, the Carbon X2, and the Rocket X, and I'm just like, what else do I need right now? At this point, I'm waiting for like the Clifton 8. And so like I'm not super excited about the Mach 4, but if it shows up, then I will definitely review them, and I'm probably going to end up really liking them. I'll probably have to eat my words on that later, but that's kind of where we're at, Carrie. So, let's see. Plain Bagel says, I love this little picture here. It's actually a bagel, or the cartoon. Thoughts on the Adios Pro now that you put more miles on them? I love that shoe. It's probably my favorite racer from 2020. I feel like it's super snappy for half marathon distance or shorter racing. but definitely is a shoe that I could take the marathon distance. So I would love to run either a half marathon or a marathon in them. But I have a feeling by the time I race any of those events, well, I'm hoping the Adios Pro 2 is out. So we'll see if I ever get to. But I have been running in them a lot, and I just really love them. The fit is a bit snug. My toes are a little bit, like my pinky toes are a little bit beat up because I've been running some faster paces in a lot of like racing shoes, and that just kind of beats up the feet a little bit. And so like when I put them on today, my feet were not initially very happy. They got used to it eventually, but at first I was like, ooh, these are snug. But the fit is great. The shoes are great. I feel very powerful in them, so I like it. Rick Sutter says, hoping to apply the principles of power training for my high school son's workouts, but no devices allowed except watches. In your opinion, is there a best watch with power estimates? Yeah, I'd say Polar has really good power from the wrist. The numbers are different than what you would get from a Stride FootPod, though, but they seem to be off by like a constant, like 50 watts or something. It's just some arbitrary number of calibration. That seems to be surprisingly accurate for me. The reason why I don't ditch the Stride FootPod altogether, though, because I do have a Polar watch that has power from the wrist, is because I still like to have the pace and distance information come from my FootPod. The other brand that has wrist-based power is Coros, and I think theirs is going to be really good as well because they've been working with Stride. So that way, their numbers, what they do is I think they subtract a constant from the numbers that they get from the wrist. So that way it can translate to whether you're using a Stride FootPod or the Coros or not. Yeah, so if you ever look at DC Rainmaker, look at that kind of like power data, he'll typically show two power curves. One is like the before the adjustment, and one is like after the adjustment, because it's recording it. The base number that it gets is different, and I don't know if it's just a subtraction by a constant or if there's an actual formula, like a multiply by 0.62 or something like that, to get to the power number that it shows you. But yeah, it shows you another power number, so you can do that from the wrist. Those are the two that I think are the best. I think Garmin also can give you power. They do have I think they did have a FootPod. I don't think they still have a FootPod, but they do have a chest strap that I believe can give you power. I'm not sure how it does that, but I think it can. So I'm not sure, maybe if no devices are allowed except watches, I don't know if the heart rate monitors count too. That's an interesting rule. But, if that's the rule, that's the rule. All right. Ray Runner says, I can't fathom doing a race anytime soon. Just not mentally ready for being out in the world, huh? Yeah, I know the feeling. I feel like, I do worry sometimes that I'm like, I'm not going to be able to adjust socially to like a post-pandemic world. Sometimes I worry. I do worry about that. That's a legitimate concern that I have. All right. Mr. Random says, where would you restart a training plan after coming weeks off a layoff due to injury? The same week before the injury or go back a few weeks? I would consider rewriting the plan if that's an option for you, because in a training plan, the weeks build off of each other, right? So I think that, and also I think it depends on the nature of the injury. So like if the nature of the injury is that like you pulled a muscle, like you pulled a hamstring, or you tweaked your calf, or your Achilles is starting to really bother you. I know that's not a muscle, but another example that's common to me. That just means like I'm taking on too much workload before my muscles are ready for it. If that was the case, coming back from the injury, like jumping right back into like the same week would only give you a very predictable result, I think. So that's something that I think you have to consider. But if it was like me, where I was like, I hurt my hamstring, slipped on ice, then and let's say that took me out for a week, I might consider kind of like a transitional week and reevaluating, but ultimately I think that, I would want to redo the plan. Maybe I have like, I'm not sure how, like mine is broken up into like mini blocks. And so maybe 1 week from the previous mini block, and then one from and just kind of move on, but condense the next mini block of it too. So that's kind of like how I would look at it. You'll have to like think about like, all right, here's my current level of fitness. Here's how many weeks I have left, and what kind of work do you want to get done in that amount of time? So you kind of have to rewrite it, I would say. All right, let's scroll down to the bottom here. Yeah, Rudy Duploy says, same, also not ready for post-pandemic life, kind of scary. Yeah, I mean, on the other hand, I feel like once it's there, I'm just gonna be like, oh, okay, then just dive right back in. You know, I'm gonna be like the wounded animal that's been rescued, and you're like, oh, I wonder if that like tiger is gonna look back at us before it leaves, and you're like hoping that it has some sort of sentimental connection to you, and instead, like as soon as you open the cage door, it just bolts and doesn't look back. I feel like I might do that too. I could go either way. I think I'll probably have both feelings at the exact same time. That's what I'm thinking. Madridi guy, what's going on, Madridi? Good to see you again. Says, how do you improve your performance during long distance? I used to run 200 kilometers monthly with pace of 5:30. I don't know if my speed is okay or need more practice. Yeah, I would say my general answer that seems to apply for most people is to run more, and typically run more easy. So like, you know, if you're wanting to improve your long distance endurance performance, you know, a lot of people like to do strength work or speed work right away, and it's fun and exciting. And like we talked about with Dr. Josh last Thursday, like you see results really quick. But for me, like, those results that I tend to see that happen really quick are not results that tend to translate over to the distances that I like to race. And so like, for me, the answer has been like, you know, if I want to do better in a half marathon, I probably need to spend a lot more time working on mileage base, and getting a lot of aerobic strength. So that way I can later build on top of that with speed work and strength training, with the foundation of my aerobic system is real strong. So now let's just make the leg muscles real strong. So that's kind of like the steps that I look for. So that's kind of, I'm trying to do the math in my head. So that's like 100 miles, and then 40 kilometers. So like 125 miles, a month at 5:30. That's like 9, is that 8:30 per mile? Yeah, I think that's like 8:30 per mile. Yeah, I would look to increase your mileage or your how far you're running every week. If you're running 3 days a week, consider adding a fourth, and that fourth day doesn't have to be fast. Just go out there, easy run, have a really great time, and just spend a lot of time on your feet. And that's kind of like what I would recommend. Will Willing says, do you get much benefit from a plated shoe in a short race like a 5K? I would say yes. I think so. What was Dr. Josh saying the other day that he thinks like the running dynamics change? Was it at 3K? He thinks there's a big difference in spikes versus carbon plated shoes. But I think for a 5K, I do think there's a big difference. The kind of carbon plated shoe that I would want would be different though. And so I wouldn't need as much stack height. I don't need as much like impact absorption. So give me more of like, and I'm pushing off harder because I'm working harder. I'm working faster. So like I can make that carbon a little bit more stiff. So that way when I'm bending it and pushing off, you know, it has more to like push back against, right? So like, that's kind of like how I think about it. So I like for faster distance, like shorter distance shoes, I want more carbon, less cushion. For longer distance, I want a little bit less carbon, more cushion. So that's kind of how I want it. But I would find a benefit at all of those distances. Like I think it would be really weird. Like I haven't owned spikes in 20 years, more than 20 years. And I think it would be real weird to put on spikes for like a 5K. I think it would kind of freak me out. But yeah. Gabrielle Miller says, thoughts on the Screaming Orange Adios Pro? I think they look nice. I wish they would re-release the white ones. I like those the best. I think those were the best ones. Or if they would go with like almost like an all white or a white and black, I just think that would look real nice. But like the orange one, I'm not as interested in. No offense to anyone that's getting it and is super excited about it. I like the tennis ball yellow ones that I have. And I like the white ones that I've been trying to get, but couldn't find. So, but it's an interesting color. Bears rocks you socks. I'm gonna say that. If you're completely new to running, what is a good running distance goal to reach every day? Should I run every day? I think that the main thing that I would recommend for someone is, or I guess it's for you, would be to not worry about distance. Go for time. And so I would say go for like 30 to 45 minutes. If you could do that every day, I'd probably go to the shorter end of that. I think every day is fine. I think it's great. You might want to rest a day or two. But most people, I generally recommend shoot for 3 to 4 times a week, 30 to 45 minutes when you're like if you're completely new to running, and don't be afraid of walking. In fact, if you were spending most of your time like that first week walking, I think that's great. I was listening to a very long conversation with Alex Hutchinson, who's a very fast runner in his own right, but he's a journalist who covers sports science. And he was talking about how like his recommendation for people most of the time is slow and steady. And he thinks that the aerobic system gets strong much faster than your musculoskeletal system. And that's usually when people get into trouble. That's when they start hurting themselves, is because like pretty quickly you'll feel like you could run for like an hour straight, no problem. Your body will tell you something different though. And that's when he thinks most beginning runners, and I agree with that completely, is that that's when like beginning runners tend to run into problems. An interesting thing is, so like we've been talking a lot about that Nike Invincible shoe, and it's the Nike Invincible and the Infinity are part of Nike's bold project to eliminate injury, or eliminate injury asterisk, reduce the risk or likelihood of injury to runners, and compared to a study of other shoes that are not the Infinity or the Invincible. And they took people, and I don't know what the starting level of fitness was for this study. I'd like to see the study, but they took 216 people or so. And so not a small number of people, but not a huge study, but a decent number of people. And they put some of them in the Infinity and some of them in Nike Structure. And 1/3 of the people that ran in the Nike Structure obtained an injury. An injury was defined as not being able to run because of whatever this pain was for like 3 consecutive days. 1/3 of those people obtained an injury from Nike Structure, one of Nike's most popular shoes. And a shoe that strangely, like regular people, most people had never run in the Nike Structure. Most Nike pros, it's one of their favorite shoes, it seems. It's like a universal thing, it seems almost. But anyway, that shoe, 1/3 of the people that Nike gave the shoe to got hurt running in it. And I suspect it's not because there's a problem with the shoe. The thing is because a lot of times people, when they run regularly, their aerobic system will respond really fast. But you got to take it easy and be careful. Take it slow, like Alex Hutchinson says, because you got to give your muscles and ligaments and joints a chance to catch up. All right. Robert Hodge says, Kofuzians, hello. What's going on, Robert? Good to see you again. Will says, would you still pick the original SL20 over the Adizero Pro for the 5K? I might, yeah. The Adizero Pro, like I was looking at it, I was gonna like bust it out the other day, and I was like, I'm not that excited about this one. I'd rather run an SL20. That's kind of, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it for version 2. But for version 1, it seemed like it was a bit heavy. I didn't understand why there was so much boost in it. It didn't feel very carbony, either at slower, moderate or marathon paces. Didn't feel exciting at, threshold paces. It felt, I could feel it a little bit when I went real fast, but I don't feel like I wasn't bending the carbon enough. It lacked like a fire, Like, did you guys ever watch Top Gear? They always kind of joke how whenever they talked about Alfa Romeos, they always use the word passion and soul. The Adios Pro had no passion or soul. That's what I didn't like about it. All right. Oh, Sarah Mims says, how did your family end up enjoying the outing yesterday evening and the Impossible Burger? The Impossible Burger was tasty. In fact, it was so tasty that I took a bite of it and I told my wife, I think I have your burger, because she got a regular burger. She's been undergoing some dietary changes and stuff, so she's been eating meat sometimes. So she got like a regular burger yesterday, and she's like, no, I got the right one. I had mine with extra onions. And I was like, oh. So, I mean, that's a testament to the Impossible Burger. It tastes like, well, at least to someone that doesn't eat red meat anymore, tastes like red meat. Real good. And the kids loved it. They loved it so much we went again this morning to the same park. So it was nice. And now the kids are nice and tired. So like, I love it when my kids are tired. I feel good. I feel like, finally all this endurance training has paid off. I've lasted a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old. And then I also feel good, like as a parent, that I'm like, they're tired, not from watching so much television or iPad or playing so much Nintendo Switch, but they're like physically tired. I feel like I've done a good thing. So I'm feeling great about that. And yesterday was like the same way. When we got home, everyone was like, let's sit on the couch, guys. And I'm always the one that's like, hey, we got this nice couch. We remember how much we missed it at Grandma's house. Grandma's has great couches, but like, remember how much we missed our couch? Let's enjoy this couch. Can we snuggle? Let's sit, and they're like, no, they're always like, no. But yesterday they were like, yeah, okay. So I was enjoying it. Yeah, Jeff Elliott says the Impossible Burger is legit delicious. And Martha says Top Gear was fun. Yeah, it was fun. You know what I just saw? MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee, said that he's going to be working with the next season of Top Gear. I don't know what he's doing with them, but I think he's doing some sort of camera work. I don't think he's just like a camera guy, but like they're doing some sort of collab. He's going to be involved in the show. Now, I thought like the American Top Gear was pretty good. It was all right. One of the hosts now hosts the Netflix show The Floor is Lava, which I think is pretty entertaining. But it wasn't that successful of a show. It was on History Channel. But I just love. I don't know. Like, I don't think you're going to get the magic back of like the original Top Gear. That was just a really fun show. I like it. I mean, I kind of model this channel over like about like Top Gear. I mean, it's heavily influenced. I hope that kind of comes through. Like, think about like the beginning of like a Top Gear, like when they're reviewing a car. Like, I don't copy the format, but like I've watched so much Top Gear that like I feel like there is an influence, at least in my mind. I don't know if it translates. Joshua Eastwood, Mr. Eastwood, good to see you again. Hi again. The best shoe or running tips for running long distance on the pavement or concrete. I will repeat a comment that has been made before here a bunch of times, and I also recently heard Ryan Hall talk about on his podcast. If you have to run on the roads, find what's not asphalt, not concrete. Concrete is like more than an order of magnitude more dense than asphalt. So asphalt's going to be the way to go. If you can, try and find like a softer surface that you can run on, even if it's like, packed dirt. That's going to be a lot better for you. That's the best tip I can give you. Is it's just the wear and tear on your body. Even as a younger runner like yourself, I think it's still you're going to benefit from it, especially because you probably have seasons that you're training for. Deep into the season, your body will respond better or have more left in the tank if you can avoid some of the hardest surfaces. So that's kind of what I would recommend. And if you're doing a lot of long miles, for your easy miles, don't be shy about getting the big chunky like max cushion shoe if you do have to run a lot on concrete, because again, you want to protect your joints, protect your legs from just taking a beating. So yeah. Let's see. Frank says the car was sent to us for review, but no one's paying us to review, and no one gets to see the video before you do. I don't think anyone's going to send me a car, but yeah, that'd be something. I don't know how I would review a car. I don't know how to review a car, but what I would probably do is watch MKBHD videos to see how he like transitioned, like what was the growth. Like, what's his name? Unbox Therapy reviewed cars for a bit. Does he still review cars? I don't know. But I feel like that transition wasn't quite as successful. Like, he still got cars to test, but he didn't get to keep it. See, like, I would see the thing, Frank. I know you're teasing me, and it's not serious. But something that I will say is, like, if someone was like, "Here's a shoe, can you send it back to us?" Whether because like they just didn't want me to keep it, or it's a prototype and they wanted to like see what the wear and tear was like or whatever, or even for a watch, if they were like, yeah, can you look at this watch, and then when you're done with it, can you send it back? I'll send it back. That offer is always there, but like, these are personal devices or personal things, and so like, especially in a time of corona, it's weird to like send back people stuff sometimes. I did do a giveaway of some used earbuds once, but I did make sure I cleaned them with alcohol swabs and stuff like that. So like, no one really wants them back. So that's the thing. So I do keep them, but yeah, I'm happy to give anything back. Yeah, Rudy Dupuis says the original Top Gear was incredible. Clarkson, May, and Hammond. Yeah, that was good. That's when I realized that in England there's a different word for station wagon than we have here. So I was like, oh, that's a much nicer word than station wagon. Station wagon has such a negative connotation here. Yeah. Mark Salzman wants to know what's going on. Mark, good to see you again. Says Asics Nova Blast or new Nike Zoom X Invincible, are they very similar? Which is better? I think that they are pretty similar. Here are the main differences that I'll lay out. I should probably do a video. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll pick up what's the other one? The Dynablast or the Road Blast? I don't know. Maybe I'll pick one of those up to do a comparison. But the main differences that I see between the Nova Blast and the Zoom X, the Nova Blast, I think, is a 10 millimeter drop shoe, and it feels every millimeter of a 10 millimeter drop shoe. If it turned out that it was a 12 or a 13 millimeter drop shoe, I wouldn't be surprised. It feels tall. It feels like you're tilted forward. And I think it's because when you stand in it, the foam squishes. And the way that the foam squishes, both are squishy. The Zoom X squishes down, but it doesn't squish down a lot. It's not like stepping on a pillow, but it does have like a squish to it. But it brings you back really quickly as well. The Nova Blast, I would say, squishes down a lot more. And in that travel, there is the potential for instability a little bit. So some people have found it way too crazy to run on, and they like return it instantly. Other people, I liked it. So, I mean, at first I was like, this is weird. Then I got used to it, and I was like, oh, I like it. So it squishes down a lot more. It still comes back real quick, but there's a lot more kind of travel, it feels like. So that's kind of the differences between the two. Are they very similar? I would use them almost identically. Which is better? That's an interesting question. I'd probably pick the Invincible on that one. But I do think that the Nova Blast is a fantastic shoe as well. John Ritchie says, hi, Kofuzi. On a budget for a carbon plate shoe, marathon distance, any tips? I'm trying to think. Are there any of them that go on sale on discount? I'm not sure, but does anyone know that? Do any of the carbon plate shoes go on discount? If not, I would look at what are some of the ones? I think probably I would look at if you're on a budget, I would look at the Endorphin Speed. It's not carbon plated, but it has like a nylon shank or nylon plate in it, similar to like that Zoom Fly version 1. But that is a shoe that I think is fantastic at a lot of speeds, and it has enough cushion to take the marathon distance even further. And it's $160. So I feel like that's probably the best deal you're going to get. All right, let's do a couple more. Jody says, do you think the max cushion shoes, the pavement hardness no longer is a big issue? I think that not running on pavement is a hangover for when shoes were less cushioned. I mean, it could be. I mean, here I spend most of my time on asphalt, like blacktop. that's what the paved part of the trail is. I don't spend a lot of time on concrete. Actually, there is some time that I'm on concrete. There's a good mile stretch every day that I'm on concrete. Or at least depending on which direction I go. If I go north, yeah, then I'll have like maybe a little bit more than a mile of concrete. But otherwise, it's mostly like the blacktop, the asphalt. And with max cushion shoes, I think that can certainly help take away some of like the perils. And that's the main idea. That's a whole like reason for being of that genre of shoes, is that like, people are putting in a lot of road miles, or they just need more, even if they're not running on roads. If they're still running on dirt, they might need more. Maybe they have some joint issues, or they just want to protect the joints a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's a good point. But I would still think that the general caveat, or the general like rule could apply, that you should try to avoid some of the harder surfaces if you can. It's something that I'm trying to do, like along the lakefront trail outside here. There's like, for a lot of it, not all of it, but there are parts of it where there's like a strip, very narrow strip of like dirt path that they've created. And so whenever that exists, I try to run on that. Now there's a lot of grass that I can run onto, and I'll talk about it a little bit in tomorrow's video, but like there's a lot of grassy areas I can run in, but I try not to utilize those so much, because I just feel like, there's only so much green space along the lakefront in Chicago. And if like everyone started running along the green space, I feel like it would just destroy all the, maybe natural habitat isn't the right word for it, but the lawns and the nature that is kind of there would really take a beating. And so I try to stay on like kind of the marked areas and stuff. So I try to, having spent like the last 7 months, not the last 7 months, but spending 7 months in Iowa, mostly on dirt roads, I was like, this is really nice. I like this dirt road thing. I like it a lot more than I used to. And so I'm trying to find more terrain that's similar to that. Flegant says, favorite shoe without any plates to race a few consecutive marathons in a short period of time. That's a very specific thing. I would say the Boston 9 would probably be in there. Rincon 2 would be high up in there as well. Hyperion Tempo. Those would probably be the three that I would look at. Those are all shoes that I've looked at for racing marathons, just as a marathon racer. I could see myself racing marathons in those shoes, carbon plate or no, and whether I'm running multiple or no. So those are ones that I would look at. But if you're worried about wear and tear and you're willing to take, I'm assuming if you're going to do a couple of marathons in a short period of time, that maybe you're willing to pay a little bit of a cushion premium, then I would say like, the Clifton might be a nice one, because that one rolls you through real nice. That could be a good one to look at as well. That 1080 version 11 might be a pretty good option for that too. The Invincible also would be a good one. I anticipate that, I think I've said this before here, that a lot of people will race marathons in the Invincible. Like, even though it's not a particular speedy shoe, I think for people that are like, I want like a special shoe for my marathon, but I'm not like a fast runner, and I don't want to buy a carbon plated shoe. Like a lot of the people that are like, I don't, that's like all that stuff, that's super speedy stuff. That's not me. I just want to run a marathon, have a great time, but also I don't want to like destroy myself. I think a lot of people that are out there that are like that, a lot of people are going to buy the Invincible, and I think they're going to have a fantastic time racing in them. And Sean Marshall brings up a really good point too. And I think a lot of people have been talking about this a lot, with not only just with max cushion shoes, but with shoes. I mean, this is like the crux of the minimalist shoe movement, is like, while they certainly help impact, I honestly sometimes wonder if max cushion shoes mess with hips. So people will say that because your feet aren't feeling like the ground underneath, it can lead some people to like hit the ground extra hard, or some, like the minimalist argument is your body is looking for feedback when it puts its feet down, when you put your feet down. And if it doesn't feel it, it will do something to make sure it feels it. And so, if the more cushion you have, the harder your body will like instinctively slap itself down, I guess. So like, That's something that people have talked about too. Yeah. So I would say if you think it messes with your hips, I would stay away from them. Different people, different gaits, not all shoes or types of shoes are going to work with people, but so I mean, maybe that's why I don't love the genre. It's probably like my least favorite type of shoe to review. But then there are days where I'm like, oh, I just want big pillows. I just want to like daydream, look at the lake, go for an easy run, and like not have to worry about my feet hurting. Like there's days where I'm like that, where I'm like, a max cushion shoe would be nice. But I hear what you're saying for sure, Sean. And I think you're not the only one that thinks that too. All right. Justin Park. I will do two more and then I got to get going for today. Justin Park says, if I watch the first ad but skip the second ad, do you still get paid by YouTube? The answer is my answer is I don't know, and it doesn't matter to me. So like, if you want to skip the ads, I would say please skip the ads. Life's too short to watch ads. If you want to watch the ad, like sometimes I'm like, oh, this ad's like interesting. I actually kind of want to know about it. Sometimes the ads are effective and I want to watch them. But like, if you don't want to watch ads, skip the ads. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. Don't worry about that. I thank you for asking, though. That's very considerate. Lee says, and this will be the last one for today. Regarding run cadence, do you think higher is always better? Thanks. I don't think so. There's kind of like the magic number that everyone talks about that says like 180 is like an optimal number. I generally find when I'm working very hard, not like half marathon or marathon training, but like when I've been doing this 8K training, my cadence will get up to 190, even 200 for some of those shorter, faster bursts. I don't think that like when I'm at 200, I don't think that's probably like maximally efficient. I think that's me like wanting to turn my legs over to compensate for the fact that my legs just aren't that powerful. And so like, I think that there's an optimal number for a person's height, weight, gait, and also like correlated to level of fitness. And that's going to like change for different people. Like Andy, he's been talking about it a lot. Well, I don't know if he's talking about it a lot recently, but I remember he used to like worry about it a lot, but he's like, I'm just tall and I'm not going to have 180 steps per minute when I'm doing like a half marathon. And like, that's just, I think that's, and he's like, I think it's fine. And Andy, by the way, just like demolished, a half marathon time trial. I think it was today. So like, and I didn't look at what his cadence was, but I guarantee you it's probably not 180. He was running like 540s the entire time or something like that. So I don't think higher is always better. In fact, one of the like main things that I've been thinking about going into this training block for me at this like 8K training block and how it relates to me ultimately wanting to run a faster marathon is that like, I look at my own running and I'm like, I'm plodding along at, my goal is to be able to run a marathon at 650 per mile, but I've been running at like 7 minutes, 7:10, 7:20 slower, for my marathon paces. But the turnover, the cadence is the same. Sometimes, and even that's just within one person, right? For me, depending on my level of fitness, at the same level of cadence, same level of perceived effort, sometimes I'm running faster than other times, right? So that if I'm able to maintain that cadence for an entire marathon, but I'm not running as fast as I want to be, then something else has to change. And I don't think cadence is necessarily it, because I think there's diminishing returns once you get past kind of your optimal like rate, like your Hertz, HERTZ. And I think that the answer then is like your legs have to get stronger, right? And so that's why I'm doing this like 8K right now, is not to get faster, is to have stronger legs. So that way each like stride or push off that I do during a marathon will give me more like watts or more power per stride or more velocity per level of effort. That's kind of like my goal. So I think like, you want to make sure that you're building enough aerobic fitness so you can maintain your optimal cadence for the entire distance. And then, I mean, that's one way to think about like, base training. And then once you can do that, then you want to make sure your legs are stronger. So that way the velocity is more maximized. The big question is, I don't know that it necessarily has to be in that order. In my mind, it works better in that order, but I think a lot of people would probably disagree with that, or say you do them simultaneously. But that's kind of my thoughts on it. So higher isn't always better. There's an optimal number. For most people, it's about 180, I think. So, all right. I think I'm going to leave it there for today, guys. It was 4 o'clock. Oh, it's already been an hour. The time flew by. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with you guys today. It's good to see everybody. Sarah, I hope you recover quickly from the bike accident today. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, 3 p.m. Central Time. And then before that, we will have a video tomorrow because I kind of took a day off on Thursday. So we'll have another video tomorrow. I ran in the Ultra Lone Peak 5 this week. So I'll tell you all about that in tomorrow's video. And then we can talk about it at the live stream afterwards. All right. Be safe out there, everybody. Have a good long run. If you haven't had your long run yet this weekend, I hope you enjoy it. And I'll see you in the next one.